because of fear of kidnapping and so many other things. So that has actually threatened our food security over time. So security actually plays a very vital and integral role in attaining food security. Now, food security is one of the major aspects that my principal wants to ensure that we attain. It is indisputable fact that food security plays a vital role and has a direct relationship to employment. They play hand in hand, right? So implying agriculture, has a direct impact on employment, because if we're able to get our people back to the farms, a lot of people would be employed through that, because that sector alone has a very huge value chain. Now, a quick reminder and take us back to history. Once upon a time, before the discovery of oil, actually agriculture has been the major source of revenue inflow for the country itself, right? So my principal wants to revive that, by improving agriculture to attain food security and for Nigeria, and at the same time growing our employment rate. Now, his vision for national food security is the sustainable access, availability, and affordability of quality food to all Nigerians, and for the country to become the net exporter of food. That is what he wants to achieve in terms of food security, and in return will provide gainful employment and seriously reduce rural-urban migration. And part of the main reason that we have a very huge potential percentage of rural-urban migration is because really we've been farming on a subsistence level, right? And that is why a lot of rural people are leaving the rural area and now coming into the urban areas, overpopulating it, and then really not having proper jobs to do, but just how to survive. If we're able to achieve food security, we are going to reduce that ratio, and we're going to get a majority of Nigerians working. So his strategy is to look at the 6 geopolitical zones, right, and carefully identify the agricultural inputs that best suits, each of these geopolitical regions. For example, probably if you go to the northwest, right, far down to Kebbi, you might find rice. If you go down to southwest, you could say cocoa, right? So look at those key geographical zones and see what best suits each location. That way, proper attention, infrastructure, and other need-be requirements will be provided, and will also provide proper data and contribution and revenue analysis, because you will be able to know now this region contributes to this region contributes to this, and they can be able to easily identify rather than haphazardly just say, let's just grow agriculture. So it has to be done scientifically, and that is what he wants to do, just to ensure that we attain that. He also plans to modernize the current subsistence nature of our agriculture, just like I mentioned earlier. You find out really our agricultural sector is mainly subsistence, not really on the large scale commercial basis that is required to attain food security and also be the net exporter of agricultural products in terms of food, right? And that is some of the things that he wants to do. So to broaden the commercial nature through modernized agriculture, production, storage, processing, and marketing it through private sector linkages. Now, agriculture has a huge value chain, right? You can take a look at crops, you can take a look at livestock. There is a huge value chain that needs to be, gotten right. And by doing that, that means a lot of industries, a lot of companies will come up. Okay, thank you so much. That's why I said you're welcome. This is a broad subject that actually needs more than 5 minutes, but I'm sure we'll continue as the debate goes on. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Who's queued next?
Team Peter Obi.
All right, Team Peter Obi goes second. 5-minute time limit. Your time starts now.
All right, good evening, Daddy Freeze and Nigerians, wherever you are. I'm honored to be on this platform talking about employment and food security today. I'll start with employment because I don't want to jumble the topics, right? We live in a country, we have 200 million people. We have young people going to school and praying to God that when they finish, they will get a job. And what happens? Most of them end up leaving the country. Like here I am, off the highway doing this live because there's security here, by the way, so I can do this. In Lagos, don't slap me, collect this phone. Anyway, now the World Bank has reported that in Nigeria, the current rate of unemployment is 33%, right? Which means that we have over 20 million people roaming the streets right now without a job. Take note, in 2015, when the APC government took over, it was 7%. So the incompetency of this government has taken us down the road by over 200% of the original unemployment rate, right? Now, that's okay, but the World Bank says, hey, that number is underreported, because from 2014, when we had 29 million unemployed youth of working age, now we have 52 million. This takes into consideration people that are leaving the country as well, right? So unemployment is a big issue in Nigeria, and that's why we have so much insecurity, because people are roaming the streets with nothing to do. This is the result of having the APC steer the affairs of this country for the past 8 years. I'm not finished, right? Now, you don't have a job. What do you do? I want to be an entrepreneur. Can you go to the bank and get a loan? No. Our financial policies don't support that. So what do? Whatever you can. That's why we have so much Yahoo or militancy or kidnapping going on all over the country, right? Now, let's forget about the financial policies that don't support. What about manufacturing? We had industries in Nigeria. Unfortunately, since the APC took over 200 companies have shut down in Nigeria. Their names that you're familiar with. Think about Okin Biscuits. Think about Exide Battery. There are so many of these companies that have shut down due to the incompetency of the APC government that was led by the current presidential candidate, who is coming to save us from himself. Somehow, I don't know, right? There's a long list of manufacturing companies that have left Nigeria. And guess what? More jobs lost, more unemployment. The problems don't finish there. Let's go to food security now, because you would think that a country like Nigeria that has such vast amounts of arable lands and human resources and all year round good weather would have a lot of food. But no. What's food security in the first place, right? So the United Nations defines most of these things, right? But it means that all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their food preferences and dietary needs for an active and healthy life. The same United Nations says that acute food security is going to bedevil about 20 countries. And guess what? Nigeria just happens to be there. So we have unemployment. We don't have food security. In fact, the same APC government has increased food inflation from 10% in 2015 to 23% now in 2022. Because of insecurity, herdsmen, people are afraid to go to the farms. We have massive flooding, which could have largely been prevented by executing 1 or 2 projects, right? We have government inaction. The government is so like a desical that things happen and they take zero action, right? And then our weak currency is being used to import food to balance the deficit. Right? Now, I'm talking on behalf of Peter Obi, so I'll tell you what he has said he will do, okay? Number 1, he will tackle security. Wouldn't it be nice if people can go to their farms without the fear of being kidnapped or shot by herdsmen? Wouldn't it be nice for oil companies to operate freely in Nigeria? They're living, by the way, but operate freely in Nigeria without fear of their staff getting kidnapped. If our oil production is at full capacity, more revenue for the country in such times where we have so much debt. Wouldn't it be nice if people went to school to study and came out and were able to apply their knowledge to become entrepreneurs, innovate, build a private sector, and provide jobs for the teeming, youth that are all over the streets of Nigeria? Finance, he said he will support small, medium-scale enterprises, right? What does that mean? It means that myself, Mama Tuzi, wouldn't have had to leave Nigeria because we forfeit start business for Nigeria with support from the government, the thing that we enjoy here as foreigners, right? Now, what about the rivers that we have in Nigeria? Today we have flooding, largely due to the opening of a dam in Cameroon. Mr. Peter Obi has highlighted the fact that, like Egypt uses the River Nile for many economic benefits, we can benefit from River Niger and River Benue. First, dredge rivers. So when they open up the dam in Cameroon, the water can flow straight to the Atlantic Ocean. We have so many tributaries in the Niger Delta that are silted up. That's why the effect is felt so profoundly. Mama Tuzi is shaking her head. Listen to my lecture, right? Mr. Peter Obi also says that other economic benefits will include irrigation in the north, right? We can have crops all year round. People wait for rain to fall. In 2022, we wait for rain to fall. So, just to conclude, our problem is not people or money. Peter Obi says the money needs to be used for what it is meant for, and that's why we need to vote somebody of integrity, because we have the policies, we have the laws, we have the systems. Thank you, Daddy Freeze. I have a lot more to say, but time no day.
Time no deal. All right, the beautiful Mama Tuzi, are you ready?
Yes, I am, sir.
3, 2,
Hi,
1.
go on. Yeah. Hello, everybody. And first, before saying anything, I would like to just say that anybody watching out there or have relatives out there that are going through the flooding situation in Nigeria, 33 of the 36 states in Nigeria are currently underwater. My heart goes out to you guys. I've been writing that since like a month now. I'm praying for you guys. I'm praying for your family. I have families in Nigeria, so I'm thinking of everybody there. So I would like to correct one thing. First off, yes, like Bruno said, I don't even need to jackpot. I have been in America I came here as a teenager to school. I will want to come home. If I can come tomorrow, I will be home. If I don't have kids and all that I'm taking care of, or me, myself, still going to school. We've talked about this, Bruno. So going to this discussion of today, which is food security and unemployment. Yes, you're correct. We have those challenges. The only thing I didn't hear from you, unlike what I heard from Mr. Abubakar, is actual plan on how to address this situation, which Atiku, we've heard his own plan now, which are plans that we can debate. That's different. Something that is common with the OB team is to highlight all the problems that we all know. In fact, people that are not Nigerians know it. They can tell you what is going on in Nigeria. What we need is a pragmatic solution, implementable solutions to these challenges we have. Food security and unemployment, these are two major challenges that we have in Nigeria. We all agree to that. All political parties agree to that. In a population of 200 million people, over 200 million people, young people between the ages of 15 and 35, they make up 130 million citizens of that country. 33% of those 130 million people are unemployed or underemployed. We know that. That is not today's problem. We've known this. Now, what are we planning to do about it? What the Tinubu administration is planning to do about it is to cut this number in half, at least in half, by the end of his first 4 years. The major agricultural challenges, like Mr. Abubakar had rightly said, we have decades of underinvestment in this sector. We have policy, our policies are so bad, like you rightly mentioned too. Truly, we have challenges with our policies. We have opportunities that we've missed. We have issues with funding for this, for seedlings and resources and everything. And of course, the climate change. While Africa contributes just 4% to the global warming, guess what? We are the ones actually going through the problems of climate change. It's Africa. It's not just a Nigerian problem. We've had typhoon in South Africa. We've had issues all around Africa affecting farmers, causing degradation and everything. In the Sahel, if you know anything about this, I've known this since I can't even remember. Sahel, we have conflicts going on there. When you're talking about other farmer conflicts that is also happening in Nigeria, is because we have foreigners coming into Nigeria through our porous borders, coming because their land they have degradation going on, there's deforestation going on there, there's starvation actually going on there, and they are coming into Nigeria. That is creating conflict. The Libya situation also affected it. So there are so many challenges. Now, with Buhari's administration, we will give credit to them because when they've done something, we should give credit. Did they do enough? Maybe not. Considering we used to import 1.6 trillion metric ton of rice. That's what we used to import. That is even 2014. Today, we only import 63 million metric ton. That's how we've come down. That is progress. That is progress. We might not be where we need to be yet, but that is progress. And we should give credit where credit is deserved. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but they've done that. Nigeria, our farmers, when their seeds used to give them, for example, like cassava, used to give them 10 tons per hectare. Now they have seeds that have improved seeds through funding, investment in all these seedlings. Now they get 30. at least 30 metric tons per hectare of cassava. We have this lady now that is in Nigeria that just made $30 million on cassava. She's Queen Cassava. She's in Nigeria there with everybody. So it's not like she had two heads or anything like that. Yes, we have challenges, but what are the way out? Currently, Nigeria has only 35% of our arable land that is being cultivated. That leaves vast 65% of our arable lands that has not been cultivated. What is Tinubu trying to do about it? Well, it starts with our policy. We need to know that we need to grow more than we consume and possibly export too. Currently, our growth rate is 3.6% annual growth rate population. So if we are already not even making enough that we can eat, what do you think will happen next year or the year after that? If you're saying rice is too expensive, well, it's a demand and supply situation. We are not making enough, and our population is not stopping. We keep growing. We don't have enough, just like anything. So Tinubu is trying to do so many projects, talking about financing, access to financing, talking about commodity boards that will guarantee pricing. We'll talk more about it if I don't have enough time. Or are you telling me I already? Okay, well, I'll come back to talk more. Thank you, Daddy Freeze. Yes.
All right, you're all welcome. That was a very good first round. And first thing I need to say is no Star Wars today, because we're tidying up my back end so that people can buy stars easier. So today's show is going to be a bit boring because there's no Star Wars. You know, Star Wars just has a way of making the show so exciting. Brume knows. By the way, last week was your week as well. Can we have your material so I can post to celebrate your win?
Okay, yeah, we'll send it to you.
Please make sure you do. As usual, before we go any further, I'm going to ask a Daddy Freeze question.
Yes, sir.
Before I ask this question, I want a yes or no answer from the three of you. So, is population a problem in Nigeria? Yes or no? Starting with Team Atiku.
Yes, it is.
Team Obi?
Yes.
Team Ashiwaju?
Yes.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay. At least, even if you said yes, but since there are two yeses and yours is a yes, but there's a but, I want you to answer me in 2 minutes. What you believe your principal is going to do to slow down the population growth, or what you would advise your principal to do should you have the opportunity to meet with him with regards to property. I say property, population. So over to you, Team Atiku. You go first.
Okay, thank you very much. That you've raised a very interesting question, though a very also difficult task, looking at Nigeria, looking at our culture, looking at our different backgrounds in terms of culture, tradition, religion, and so on and so forth. It's not going to be easy to say you are actually going to reduce population, unless if probably what I would advise in that regards is probably a strict government policy that maybe restricts maybe the number of kids you have, right? And I know that is not actually going to come easy with a lot of quarters, because they might not believe that, because what actually increases population, you know, so it's not going to be an easy fit, honestly, looking at where we are coming from. It's different from where you see from the Europe or the West, right? It's a natural norm that you would see probably a family with just one child or none at all, while the average family in Nigeria would probably be, you know, a family of parents and 3 kids, or if not more. If you come to the north, is way above that. So the only possible solution to that is most likely a government policy that would give reasons or maybe ensure proper family planning to reduce that. I think that is one of the ways I believe I would advise my principal on reducing population, but it's not going to be an easy feat, honestly, looking at where we are today. Thank you very much.
All right, you're most welcome. Over now to Team Peter Obi.
Okay. In terms of what I will advise my principal to do, looking at my principal's family, he has a wife and 2 children. If everybody in Nigeria, had just 2 kids, I want to believe that the population wouldn't grow at this kind of rate, right? And it's a function of education, right? Most people still believe that, hey, kids are from God, so there's no point stopping the process. If we do and it happens, we have the children. Education is what makes people start thinking, how can I give the best to my children? And when you think like that, you also ask yourself, how many kids can I afford to give the best? So you don't just go littering the place with kids, saying that God will take care of them, right? This is all a function of education, right? And that's when I said population is a problem in Nigeria, right? I meant the illiterate population, right? Because these are the people that go about procreating like no man's business. You drive a taxi and you have 8 children. How are they supposed to go to school? How are they going to eat? How can you give them university education? You can't. So those 8 children will go and have 16 each, if possible, right? Because they have this orientation that, hey, kids are from God, we can't stop the process. And Mr. Peter Obi has already demonstrated, as governor of Anambra State,
Time up, Brume.
that education is a priority. Finish.
Mama Tuzi.
Education is priority, yes. People from Anambra and Kano that are living in Lagos are the ones actually populating Lagos the most. This one thing why I said it's an issue with Nigeria is because we have a population that we don't have means to feed them. We are not training them. Like Brume said, when it comes to education, a child that you have that you don't train is going to be a problem, a thorn in your flesh. Simple as ABC. If Nigeria can control or at least train, feed themselves, get their act together, I'm not going to complain about their population because frankly, the problem that we have in Nigeria, we have the same with Hispanic community in America. I'm an obstetrics nurse, so I know what I'm saying. Most of my patients, even if you offer them in a civilized world where it's free, if you offer them contraceptive, they will tell you, I'm Catholic. I don't know how Mr. Obi is going to be able to sell it because he's Catholic himself. How is he going to say that? Okay, contraceptives, we know how Catholics fight this. Or who is this? Will Abubakar go to the mosque and tell all these sheikhs and all of them to not keep having babies? Like Brume rightly said, seriously, our culture and over-reliance on the books saying this, God said, go and multiply so I can keep multiplying. But God did not say don't have common sense. He also said, I gave you free will. You're supposed to use that brain to know when something is right for you. My home, just like Mr. Obi, is just 2 of us. My father born waiting if he trained. So it wasn't a burden for him. So thankfully, thank God for that. So you have to know what you can afford and do it. But I don't know if our society is going to allow it, though local government is in charge of family planning. So we can empower our local government to do more of training on family planning and all that. So, and my own principal is actually trying to put more money for local government and states. So hopefully that can make impact. That's what I can advise on.
All right, since that's a Daddy Freeze question, I did say from this week I was going to pick winners for my questions, because it's my question and I was looking for an answer. To be honest, that's why I shut Brume up. Brume said one thing. He said Peter Obi has 2 children. In that way, Peter Obi won this because you win by example. If you have 2 children and you are complaining about a population issue, it is easy for people to look at you and learn by example. Secondly, I'll pick Tim Tinubu because she tackled Peter Obi with the Catholic line, which, to be honest, is a very valid point. One of the main problems we have that has assisted population growth to the point where population has skyrocketed is religion. And no other person than Elon Musk drew our attention to this. I'm going to send, I can't play it live because of copyright. I don't own the content. Elon Musk said any society that is religious tends to have lower income and higher child rates, while societies that are more irreligious have higher income and lower child rates. So that's the Daddy Freeze question. Did I judge it right? Guys, what do you think?
Can I say something?
Daddy Freeze. But that
Yes.
was initially what I said. If I quote you right on what Elon Musk said, I said our
yes.
exactly.
You did say that.
Tradition
From you because of your network. You're glitchy.
Oh, okay.
Daddy Freeze, can I say something?
What you said. Now, there are no prizes for the Daddy Freeze question. It's just I'm looking for certain answers. And Brume effortlessly, just by pointing to the character of his principal, was able to answer that question. Look at P2B. He has 2 children. It's very easy for a man with 2 children to tell you.
But can I say something though?
Just to counter the point about Catholics.
Go on, Brume.
About Catholics. I spent 6 years in a Catholic secondary school in Nigeria, right? I have 3 siblings, right? Myself and my 2 brothers went to, the boys' school, Lumen Christi, and my sister went to the girls' school Presentation, right? I know many families there. I cannot remember any single family that had more than 3 or 4 children, right? So, it's not, if your point about, being Catholic and unable to, effect birth control was valid, then all my friends will have 7 or 8 siblings. But no, educated people, the point is education. Whether you're Catholic, Muslim, Anglican, atheist, when you are educated, right, you make a decision not to have many children. It has nothing to do with religion or sect.
So, Brume, let me ask you a question because I'm going to need to counter you on that. It's not about just education. It's about the fact that the church, I'm not trying to attack the church. I went to Catholic myself. My preschool was Catholic. My primary school was Catholic, Sacred Heart. I went to that. I've been to religious school all my life. My secondary school was Anglican. My university here, one of my school was Adventist. So I've been to all religious school. So what I'm saying is, and I'm speaking, even basing it on the fact that I mentioned it when I started my point, when I said, I have patients here. 95% of my patients, my obstetrics patients, are Catholic Hispanics. And what informed their decision about contraceptives is because of their Catholicism, because of church. Yes, like you rightly said, it now comes down to the church, besides the Pope now, the current Pope that is allowing this, that is saying it's okay, you can't judge people, there should be contraceptive, that is allowing it. The church has never been open about it. People have chosen to be like, you know what, it doesn't matter, I'm going to do it. So it comes down to, like you said, and I supported your point when I said, yes, education matters. We need to find a way to get people to understand. I counsel patients every time when I'm trying to tell them, you should either get tubal ligation or get contraceptives. I have to counsel them and try to tell them, this is the reason why we're saying this and now. Because personally, I consider it a sin to bring a child to this world that you cannot care for. I personally consider it a sin. There's no greater sin to me than that.
Absolutely.
So
You're right.
So I'm with you. I'm with you, Brume.
Here. Can I just quickly say something?
Yes.
You've made quite a good point, right? But we're talking about population here. Now, what can we say about China? What can we say about India? What can you say about
We
US?
can't do China. We can't do China.
All these countries are way above Nigeria in terms of population, right? But they're productive. And I will come back to
Yes.
Bume because, yes, education plays a vital role in this, right? And also,
Yes.
you know, policies and things like that that will back up for ensure that people own up to their responsibilities, right? People need to be brought to account for bringing children that they cannot take care of. Population also has an
Yes.
advantage because if you have a productive population, it's
Exactly.
it's a very huge advantage to every country because it's a huge resource, and human resource is
Yes.
one of the greatest resource any country can have. So far, that population is productive. What we have in Nigeria is unproductive,
Unproductive.
overpopulated people. And that's what needs to change. So I just wanted to
Yes,
bring
I
up that
agree.
point
Now,
regarding that.
I agree.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree with you too.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
Atiku Abubakar's comment: productive population, a population that is undereducated, highly religious, and makes decisions based on ancient traditions is not a population advantage.
Thank you.
So population might have been in certain circumstances an advantage. In Nigeria, it is not. We
Yep.
have more people who are kidnappers and more people to kidnap. We have more thieves
That's
and
true.
more people
But
to
Nigeria is
rob.
a disadvantage.
Yes, in case of Nigeria,
But
it is a
Nigeria is a
disadvantage.
disadvantage.
Advantage. But if we could tap our natural resources, our mines, our arable farmland, our technological sectors, and all, then our population, the way it is right now, would have made sense. But our population is a problem because our GDP is about 449 billion. Dividing that by 210 million is poverty in itself. Romania
Yes.
about that, but their they have about the GDP of about 400 billion as well, but their population is 19 million.
Yeah.
Germany has a GDP of in their trillions. China 14 trillion. So yes, they have a population, but they also have a gross domestic product to match their population.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. We have a product.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that is free. But you also need to keep into perspective that those countries like China or India, they are not Christians or Muslim population. But the problem we have in Nigeria, like
They
you've
have a
always said,
mixture actually.
no, what I'm saying is that even their Christians and their Muslims, they have Nigerian Christian and Muslim is another breed entirely. We overdo, in fact, we know more than Jesus. Just, no disrespect to Jesus. Like the way we act, like we know more than the people that actually wrote the Bible and the Quran itself. And that's a big
called
problem.
the
Is
average
it
Calm
Nigerian
called?
down. Calm down. Take
and
it
God.
easy. Take it easy.
The average Nigerian, God prays to him. And I'm not joking, because if you look at all these religions, Islam and Christianity, they are not our traditional religions. But they were brought here, and now we're exporting
Yes.
what they brought to us. Listen, Nigeria took palm oil to Malaysia.
To
Today,
Malaysia.
Malaysia is exporting palm
It's
oil to
important, yeah, to Nigeria.
No, no be juju be that.
and sends to Italy and Switzerland. Switzerland is sending us chocolate. Nigeria produces crude oil, sends
Don't forget the
abroad.
hides and skin.
They ask us petrol.
Refined petroleum products.
In the north,
Don't
we are
forget the hides
producing
and
leather.
skin that we export and they bring back the shoes
The
for us
leather
to
is
buy.
going to the designer countries.
Yeah.
And we are buying
importing.
designer bags.
But that is, you're even going
But
far.
when
In
it comes
Africa,
to
there,
religion, but when it comes to religion, it's the opposite.
yes.
They
Yes.
brought the religion to us.
And now
Yes.
we
The
are
way we took
exporting it to them.
cocoa, the way we took the palm
Yes.
oil, and we took the crude oil.
Yes.
They brought religion to us. We refined it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this thing, and we're exporting the finished
yeah.
product back to them.
Yes.
That is free.
And they are not
Do you
buying
know?
it. Us that are there, that are buying what we are exporting, is a joke. Yes.
Is a joke.
Nigeria is so unproductive that the phrase that we go to African shops here to buy Gary made in Ghana, to buy Malta Guinness made in Ghana. Everything we buy here is made in Ghana. We cannot even export food for Nigerians to eat abroad. It is that bad.
Do you know that Gari, that one made in Ghana is evil?
Yeah.
Gari is made in China and brought to Nigeria. That is
Oh
a
my
real
goodness.
fact. I'm not even kidding. Like, it is when they say that we are trying to clamp down on people. There are. It's unfortunate as Omolara could not join because she's into agriculture. She's been doing it for 20 years. So she would have been, but she couldn't join tonight. She will tell you, like Chinese. A lot of foreigners are the ones buying up our farmlands now to do farming in Nigeria. That the phrase, if you want
Exactly.
to
Because
believe that.
that is
Um,
just what I want to mention. That is just what I want to
yeah.
mention. We honestly, as a country, do not have strong policies that will back up our own businesses, that will ensure that our own businesses grow. So rather, we've opened up our borders, and it is terrible that today, if you go to as far as Kano, and you enter markets that are 1,000 years old, that are been managed by Nigerians now, you go into the shops and you find out that they are Chinese men or Chinese
Yeah,
indigens
but
that
for
are
Mr.
actually
Abubakar,
managing
why
those,
I want to,
you
Mr.
know?
Abubakar, let me now say something though. I want to counter that also. While I know that government have their own shortcomings when it comes to our regulatory framework, which I think it has improved greatly, it's still not where it needs to be. But the issue is, even Nigerians themselves, you know that agriculture is not quick returns. Agriculture is not something you just snap your finger. You have to actually wait. It takes patience. You have to be persistent and all that. Nigerians are not
Yeah.
like that. When they tell you go to the farm, they are not saying go and get cutlass and hoe and do the distance. There are so many things. In fact, 2 months ago, all my stuff from Nigeria came via cargo. The person that sold it to me, a family friend, she would just advertise. I just saw her Facebook that she's like, I'm selling snail, I'm selling this and everything. She doesn't even leave her house in Lagos. So she has this thing with farmers in the rural area, and all they have to do is package everything, do everything. She tells them what they want. They put it on a bus coming to Lagos and deliver to her, and then she helps me ship it. There are so many people are doing things like that. Agribusiness, value chain down. You can
Yeah,
be in
that's
producing, you can be in
subsistence farming.
manufacturing, you
That's
can be in retail.
subsistence farming that we are
Exactly.
talking about.
But a lot of
It
our
needs
own
to change.
people, yes, a lot of
It
our
needs to
own people,
change.
though, Mr. Abubakar, a lot of our people don't see value in. We have this elite, if you agree with me, we have elite mentality because, that is beneath me. I can't do that. It's beneath
I
me.
don't I don't think so.
You
I
don't
don't think
agree.
so. It's because look, the
Madam,
banks don't think
you see,
agriculture is bankable, right? So you will find it difficult to get a loan to do mechanized farming on a large scale, right? It's mostly
That's
privately funded. And the loans that they give out, those agricultural loans, are too small to establish anything of
to
value.
establish,
So
which
the
is true.
problem is
Which is true.
it's a policy problem.
That's
Many
why I
people
said that.
want to do
That's why I
agriculture.
said that
exactly.
it's
It
more
is.
than just
It
the.
is
What
a
I'm saying
policy
is that
problem.
yes, there's a policy.
You
You know,
see,
which
the
was
moment,
one of the things I mentioned. Oh,
madam,
Yeah.
sorry, Daddy, please.
madam, you see what is actually happening.
I'm glad
You
you
see what
guys
is
are
actually
having
happening.
fun, but it's time to
Yeah.
move on to the
Wait.
next section. 5-minute time limit and rebuttals. Over to you guys.
All right. Okay. So we're back to the main topic, which is food security and employment. And like
Yes.
I'd mentioned earlier, food security is key to the development and economy of every country. And of course, with our population, you cannot even underemphasize the matter on how we need to really attain food security. And food security is even within your own country, feed your own population, not even to now start talking about actually exporting to other markets that will now in turn bring you foreign revenue reserves and foreign revenue, improving your foreign reserves. So my principal also wants to really involve, because, you know, in every developed country, the private sector plays a major role in that economy. That way, it reduces the burden on the government, because now, you know, the private sector is now investing its resources into that component. So the private sector is key to reduce this. That way, it reduces pressure on government. My principal wants to also, you know, has always been mentioning, you know, Nigeria needs to start producing again. We need to start producing again. And in terms of employment, right, when you look at the agricultural sector, when you look at the textile industry, when you look at the automobile industry, these are industries with very huge value chains that can actually employ millions of people if properly utilized. And also, not just now reviving these industries, also ensuring that the right policy framework has been implemented to ensure that these industries actually perform and are profitable. Example, you cannot say you are reviving textiles to ensure you grow that industry, and then you allow.
Oh wow. Atiku's number is Atiku's system is very
Internet is bad. Yeah.
internet. So over to you, Brume. Your take.
Yeah, I just want to react to something that Mama Tuzi said earlier on. It wasn't something wrong that you said, right? And I'm not trying to counter something that you said, but regarding increased agricultural output, I want to let you know and Nigerians know, right, that in the increased output that we see today is not necessarily a good thing, right? Years ago, a company called Monsanto found its way to Nigeria. This company has been banned in several countries across the world. Monsanto is in Nigeria giving our farmers high yield seeds, right? And we don't differentiate between GMO and non-GMO foods, you know. So I'm not excited to hear about high output. I rather we, you know, increase the scale of what we have today and keep our organic food, because now we don't know what we are eating, right? Now, regarding what Mr. Peter Obi said he will do, I just want to expand on what I was saying before, right? So regarding finance, right, I said, you know, in addressing unemployment in Nigeria, Peter Obi has categorically stated in many interviews, right, that he was going to support small and medium scale enterprises. What does that mean? It means the person that wants to establish a juice factory or a food processing factory or a cassava processing factory can go to the bank and get a loan and establish that factory. Okay? It's very difficult to get that done today. Now, I also mentioned increasing production of food, right? I mentioned the case of rice, for example, right? Peter Obi says that he has gone to other countries where they have successfully been able to achieve food sufficiency, and he's going to copy their model back home in Nigeria and try to get our production enough to sustain Nigeria and enough to even export. That creates business for Nigerians to earn foreign exchange, okay? Now, also talking about agriculture, right? You know, we import a lot of food. Even Peter Obi is a distributor for a lot of imported products, right? What about we get those people to come and establish plants in Nigeria as well and process the food that we grow here, like cocoa? We can make chocolate in Nigeria, for example, right? These are the things that Peter Obi has said he's going to try to bring back home to Nigeria, right? Now, let's talk about education and security, right? I'll start from security, okay? Now, forget about funding and policy, okay? Most people are scared to go to the farms, okay? If you don't get kidnapped, herdsmen can come and their cows can eat your crops. So we have to address the problem of security first, so people can go to the farms and actually grow crops and enjoy the fruits of their labor, okay? Now, education is going to reduce the insecurity in Nigeria. Why? You provide funding for people to start businesses, right? It's the educated population mostly that will start these businesses, right? When I mention education, not just formal university education, we had technical schools in Nigeria before, which are all dead. People used to go and learn vocations, carpentry, plumbing, all of these things, right, contribute a lot to a country's economy. Today, they are downgraded in Nigeria simply because we see those people as illiterate. You could have woken up in the morning and gone to learn plumbing, so we don't value them, right? But outside every other part of the world, these vocations are valued. So education, right, is an umbrella for a lot of things that will happen in the sector of teaching people to do stuff. Basic education, vocational education, right? And one more thing, entrepreneurship, right? So when you have funds available to start your small, medium-scale enterprise, right? And you start it, guess what? You need people, right? So the private sector, individuals will contribute to employment, not unemployment, right? Because there is security, farmers can go back to the farms. We can have oil production back at high levels. We can get more revenue, right? When we have strong financial policy, even the financial industry itself will employ people. Countries like the US, where you are, right, most of their money is made by finance and real estate and insurance. They produce almost nothing in the United States of America, right? So I've mentioned 3 key areas: finance, security, and education. I don't want to talk about flooding right now, right? Because there's a lot of money to be gained by utilizing the rivers that we have. If you watch Peter Obi's interview with Arise TV, he mentioned the River Nile in Egypt. Check what Egypt does with River Nile. Egypt is dry and dead, but they have agriculture, irrigation, right? There's so many things that Mr. Peter Obi has said he would tackle unemployment and food security in Nigeria, right? But I think the 3 main points I mentioned are enough for now. If you guys want to give me a chance to continue, I can. But basically, what we need really, okay, is somebody who is going to say, let us spend money on this and make sure the money is spent on that. And that is a strong point, a strong character of Mr. Peter Obi. He doesn't let money go to waste. He makes sure that the money is spent where it's supposed to be. And you can see, the way each person is campaigning. Some are throwing money away, spending money on rallies. He hasn't spent money on rallies because he doesn't believe that money should be spent on rallies. How you conduct yourself during the election campaigns is a reflection of how you conduct yourself when you are actually in government. And Mr. Peter Obi does not waste money on things that are unnecessary. Okay? That's it for now. Thank you.
All right. Did he stay within time limit? Yes. So over to Team Tinubu now.
All right. So I have 5 minutes. Okay. All right. So I hear Brume talk. I can't see anything substantive in everything you said. Yes, he would do this, he would do that. But what is his actual plan? What is his strategy? We've been asking Mr. Obi to give us a manifesto, a plan. If I want to do anything, if I want to do any kind of investment, which in this case is like investing in the candidacy of Mr. Obi, I would think that I want you to bring me something. If I'm applying for a consulting job, they will tell me to bring a project that I've done, bring it so they can see what I've done and what I can do. But when Mr. Obi is saying nobody needs manifesto, you can just look at Anambra. If Anambra is his yardstick, well, I will take a pass and say absolute no. No Nigerian want Nigeria to be like Anambra. They want Nigeria to be like Lagos. That is a fact that you can verify. Secondly, moving on to the issue of vocational training, that has already been done in Lagos. That has already started since 1999 when Asiwaju was in Lagos, and they are still doing it till date. I have community members that have gone to that. I have someone that lived with us that did that in Lagos, Tinubu's Lagos. So let's move on to something more serious. Yes, there can't be any food security without security. And that is why the number one thing Asiwaju wants to focus on that is prioritizing is security. And you know what? When I saw that manifesto, the thing that made me happy the most was something that I've been talking about in this my house for the past 4 years, which is having a special team specifically for tackling this. It's like the SEAL team that killed Osama bin Laden. Having it, why can't we have that in Nigeria? I've been screaming about that. We've talked about it. My family, we have a group that we do, political group that discuss this. And we talked about it. And when I saw that, I was so happy. Because about time, somebody's actually thinking of doing something. Besides that, is the technology, the investment in this. What are we doing? Because it's easy for all of us to say, well, we will tell the military to do this, to do that. What are we doing to encourage our military officers? How many times have Nigerians said, well, God bless our military going out there to face the terrorists, to face the bandits, to face the kidnappers? Nobody has ever said that. These people have families too. Are they paid well? No. When Ashwaji said, well, we don't have enough manpower for the military, for the paramilitary, we're going to hire more. Everybody thought it was a joke. Yes, we need more. I have friends that are in the Army Reserve in America. They are not currently serving, they are reserve. But if there's anything, they will call them up to pick up arms to defend the United States of America. That is how it works. And that is what Ashwaji is planning to do. We're going to employ. That is also going to reduce unemployment too. We're going to employ into the military. We're going to employ in the NSCDC, in the police force, in all the forces that government can do. But major employment is going to be driven by private sector. And that is why Ashwaji has already stated it in his manifesto. He's going to partner with private investors, private companies, through tax breaks, tax incentives, so that way all these luxury brands and everything we are buying, let them bring it to Nigeria. We'll give them tax breaks, we'll give them tax credits, tax holidays. That is why we have all these free trade zones that you have in Lagos. Those places, they are exempt from certain tax, but they are creating jobs for our citizens. Now, Mr. Abubakar mentioned that, Atiku said he's going to have industrial hubs. Well, that has always been something that Ashwaji didn't just wake up this year and think about. If you've been watching his colloquium since 2019 or 2017, he has been talking about that. We are going to create industrial hubs in all the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Like in Northwest now, it's going to be for textile because that area is known for textile. We know Southeast is the things that Southeast is good at, will be focused on it. Not specifically, we know that when it comes to agriculture, that's the northern thing. We know that. It will be focused on that. Same thing in Southwest. We'll focus all areas needs to develop at their own pace. Whatever they are good at, we need to invest in it. And that is why, besides the federal government, Ashwaji's administration is planning to actually readjust the sharing formula. Give more to the state and the local government because they are closer to the people. The central cannot be disbursing money when the people that actually feel the impact that I am closer to are people that are in my government, in the local council. So that is why he's putting more money there. And when you talk about education, yes, education, like I said, vocational training from primary, secondary, tertiary institution. Also, when it comes to youth entrepreneurship and empowerment, it's not just going to have access to funding. That is already there. That is that's a no given. That's something he will do because he's always done that. But wait, let me finish. Don't interrupt. That's something he's going to do, which Abubakar mentioned it. But what Ashwaji is going to do is not just give you money. There are going to be mentorship programs. The government entity will partner with private companies so that they can mentor you. I'm a business owner. There's a difference between giving me money and me, I can actually making sure that that money next year you ask me and I can't account for it, which is major problem we have with our young people in Nigeria struggling every day to run a business with small money they have. Is the management of it, is to make this money work for them, the efficiency of their business, the productivity of their business. I can't tell you how many times I will say, wait, why did this person not say this? They could have been done better because I ordered something from Nigeria. And I'm always open to giving good feedback that will help. So those are the things. So it's not just access to funds, which Ashwaji is doing that. As a matter of fact, the central bank will work with our commercial banks to have designated to just youth-led entrepreneurship to give them loans. Our banks are going to do that. And all federally controlled banks like Bank of Agriculture or Bank of Industry will have from day one, they will be mandated to have schemes in place, initiatives in place targeted at youth entrepreneurship and empowering them and giving them loans. And not just giving them loans, giving them the financial knowledge that they will need to manage their business successfully. These are very important things. And not just that, even for the ones that don't want to go do their business, that just want to do what they studied in school, there are initiatives in place, there are things in place that Ashwaji is putting in to keep them in Nigeria. Why are you opening your mouth?
No,
Thank
this
you,
is
sir.
not fair. This is not fair that the phrase. No.
Well, because what I was saying was
I have a quick comment. I have a quick
wait,
comment, right?
Mr. Abubakar was asking me something earlier. Let him get, and then I told him to not interrupt.
Whatever comment you have, will be saved for the Gbas Blues.
Oh, okay.
Okay, fine.
Time
But
for the
Daddy
Gbas Blues. Yes.
Okay, Daddy Freeze, I'm not taking the
I
bus
have
boost for T-Mobile.
one request.
Okay. What's your
Yeah.
request? All right,
My
Brume, let me
request is that
in both the voice.
while I was doing my last 2 minutes, I had an internet issue. I don't know
Okay.
if
Oh,
you
yeah,
will
that's
give me
true.
some time
That's
to
true.
just
That's true.
quickly.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. We forgot about
All
it.
right.
Sorry, yeah, good.
Which
Okay,
is the truth.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for this
All right,
opportunity.
over to you.
And
Let me remove
all right.
Brume so I add Mo the voice.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Brome.
Nice. Bye.
All right, where is Mo the voice? All right, go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you very much, and apologies for the network issues earlier. And what I've heard both debaters what they said, and I want to also draw us back so that we don't really deviate from what the main topic is, which is food security and employment. And
Yes,
we've
sir.
discussed quite a lot. So I saw in the debate we're actually deviating, and like I said, is what is the strategy of your principle for Nigeria? A lot of reference has been made to Lagos and Anambra, but yes, these are things that they've done in the past. But what this topic is talking about is what are the plans for Nigeria come 2023? What are they going to do? And so that is what I say. I want to say in regards to my own principle. In regards to food security, one of the major things to ensure that is properly done is security, which is clearly stated in his five-point agenda. Security is key. If we're able to attain that, food security is halfway done, because without that, people cannot actually go out there, farm, and talk less of attaining food security. So that aspect we've discussed at the earlier presentation at the first 5 minutes. But in terms of employment, what he wants to do is to ensure that major industrial hubs come to life. We have a lot of industries that have gone into comatose. This agricultural, textile, and automobile industries, we've had them since in the 70s. They just went comatose, and bad policies that killed them. And he wants to revive them. These are industries that have very huge value chain, that can be able to employ millions of Nigerians, that can be able to train millions of Nigerians, and would be able to produce, not just produce for our own consumption, but to the extent of also exporting these products out. And
Yes.
by the time we are able to do that, we are definitely going to ensure food security for the country and also be a net exporter of food. And then we would be able to actually also produce and manufacture in terms of textile, automobile, and agri-processing zones to ensure that we recruit most of our, or get most of our teeming youths employed. And what I said also earlier, that will seriously reduce the rate of rural-urban migration. If that is done, I can tell you, if the opportunity and the potential is there, you are actually likely going to get the reverse, urban-rural migration. Because if the infrastructure is in place, and you are even going to decongest your urban areas, because people will actually go back that are seriously into agriculture. And that is how you find out, even in Europe or Western countries, you find out how counties develop. Is usually something that takes them there. They move from urban to rural just to ensure they establish businesses. That is why this is important to my principal, and that is why he wants to ensure that this happens, because it is key to food security and employment. Thank you very much, Daddy
Yeah.
Freeze, for this opportunity
Mr. Abubakar,
Now,
Daddy Freeze, can we quickly, okay.
we have to move to the last section.
Yes, sir.
And we have a 7-minute time limit, which starts now. 3, 2, 1, and go. By the way, welcome, Mo the Voice. We've missed you here. It's been quite a while.
Thank you, Daddy Freeze. Thank you.
So, 7 minutes, round one. Baz goes.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's really interesting to hear, team. It's really interesting to hear Atiku's supporters when he's been here as vice president, and all he did is privatize Nigeria's parastatals for pennies on the dollar to make himself rich. So I don't understand this. Mama Tuzi is here talking about manifestos, a piece of paper where somebody just writes whatever. I just pulled up Buhari's manifesto, same garbage. Leadership is about character. None of these men have the character that Peter Obi has. So anybody who wants change in Nigeria, it's just like saying a man who says, "Oh, I have a manifesto. I cheated on my last wife, but I have a manifesto. I'm a good man. I'm a faithful man. I'm a loyal man." Who is going to believe you? Only a dummy will believe that you will do anything different from the last time that you did it.
And you know what? I would have said, let me not say anything. Wait, Mr. Atiku, wait. I would have said, let me not say anything because silence is golden. But I think this is very important to respond to you. If you're talking about integrity, Peter Obi should not even be anywhere close to where they're talking about integrity. For a man that invaded tax, put money away. It's not Tinubu's name that is in Pandora because you guys seem to forget that so quick. Tinubu's name is not in Pandora because I think if it was
Tinubu's name is with the FBI for being a drug dealer. But Tinubu's name is with the FBI for being a drug dealer. So just address that. When you finish addressing that something that someone was not charged for, you need to address your principal who is a drug dealer.
Intelligent discussion. When you are done shouting,
it's not intelligent.
We can have an intelligent discussion. Are you going to have
it's not any indictment at all.
Listen. Are you going to have an intelligent discussion like we had with Brume, or you want to come here? Nobody is going to benefit if I'm shouting and you are shouting. And I can guarantee you can't outshout me.
Do you think after what you lie? Do you think I should watch you lie?
I'm not saying
Peter Obi was not indicted of any problem. There are documents that show that investigative journalism that show that Tinubu is a drug dealer.
Rubbish and garbage out of your mouth.
Tinubu is not rubbish. Tinubu is a drug dealer.
Anyway, Mr. Atiku, let me talk to you.
Never gone on TV to defend himself from being a drug dealer. Peter Obi has addressed the issue of his foreign bank accounts.
You asked me about what Akiwaju's plan is that you didn't hear me say it, which I specifically said it. You just didn't, as typical Atiku team. You guys always have selective amnesia when we are saying something. You know, we had this argument the last time. I did say that just like Atiku is having this plan of doing opening hubs, everybody have that plan. Tinubu's plan, he's been talking about having the 6 regional industrial hubs. Like in the northwest and the northeast now, we know that besides agriculture, textile is big in those areas. That is where he's going to massively invest in that. When it comes to southeast and south-south, we are talking about manufacturing, which southeast is good at. Mr. Obi that we are talking about now, he was governor of Anambra for 8 years. We had a big Aba market there. He didn't do anything with it. He missed opportunity before somebody come here and be telling me something. And which means that if you are going to give me something to wear,
what is the distance between Aba and Anambra State? You're such an illiterate, you don't even know it. What does Anambra State have to do with Aba? That's how you said that it's people from the east and people from Kano that come to populate Lagos.
Southwest, we have fine sand that can be converted to glass. In North Central, we have solid minerals that we can invest in. We are talking about it. Now, you, sir, we can have intelligent conversation because some people just like to make noise that have no content, nothing. If you want to do your own research, maybe I will advise you to stop reading something from Twitter that is not doing you any good because you're not learning anything from it. As a matter of fact, I used to be so proud that Nigerians are the most educated in Africa. Unfortunately, with this election has shown me difference. The majority of us are educated, but we are educated damn illiterate because we don't take time to read anything, to try to educate ourselves or educate our mind. If you want to get away with anything with a black person, all you have to do is put it in the book and they will sure not disappoint you because they don't know how to read. Sir,
Take some
please,
water,
you
madam.
say your own. I'm not listening to more. Abi,
No,
whatever his
Mr.
name is. I'm
Abubakar, I have
listening to
one
you,
question.
Mr.
Take some
Abubakar.
water.
Mr.
Me,
Abubakar, I
I've
have one
muted
question,
you. I mean,
please.
when you're talking, I just
Look,
Mr.
muted you, so I'm
Abubakar,
not even
Mr.
listening
Abubakar,
to you.
Mr. Abubakar,
yeah.
I have
Mr.
one
Abubakar, I
question,
beg,
just
stop,
one
No,
Jerry.
question.
no, hold on. I think you spoke,
Okay,
and I think you took that jab at me, right? So, and
okay.
let me
Oh,
at least even respond to what you are saying, right? You're talking about national assets. You're talking about so many other things, and these are things that I don't think you even have facts and figures of what exactly happened or what transpired. You're talking about Peter Obi. What is his policy document? He doesn't even have a policy document on this. He doesn't. You understand? And when you listen to him 9 out of 10 times talk, right? What are his plans for Nigeria? What has he actually done for Anambra apart from establishing his own personal businesses? Even the ideas that he had was not for the people of Anambra, was for his own and his family businesses. And we're talking Nigeria,
thank you,
and we
Jerry. Don't
want to
mind things.
constantly be talking about a particular state or what has been done. Nigeria is bigger than any other state. What is the integrity and the accountability that has
So,
clearly shown his
let
action?
me respond to your question.
You
Let
understand?
me respond
And
to your
if
question.
I take you back, most of the things when he was campaigning, he was talking about involving China in almost most of the things he wants to do. Is that what we want to do in Nigeria?
Yeah, so
What does China
let me
have to do?
respond to
We're
what you.
talking Nigeria. We're talking made in Nigeria. We're talking about things that has to do with Nigeria. He's one of the major importers of finished goods in Nigeria. What has he done? What policy document has he had to ensure that he has even lived by example to say, okay, look, I'm
Nothing.
producing in Nigeria.
So, Mr. Abubakar, I'm trying not to interrupt you, so but you're going to have to kind of round it up a little bit.
That he can actually push for the government to actually have policies that will support what he's doing. But rather,
Mr. Abubakar,
yeah, I'm listening.
let me
Go
respond
ahead.
to what you're saying. I've never heard Peter Obi say China out of his mouth, not even once. Mrs. Mama Tuzi, hold on 1 second. You can think about that. Mama Tuzi, I want to find out from you, where is Aba compared to Anambra State?
I meant, and I
How
already
is
corrected
Peter
it.
Obi?
Listen,
How
I
is Peter
meant,
Obi responsible for what happens in Aba?
Okwa, AKWA, and Onitsha. At least Onitsha is a big business hub. What
No,
did he do?
you said Aba.
Mo, tell me
You
one
said
thing. I
Aba.
want
You
to know.
said
I said
Aba.
I
No.
misspoke. I
You didn't say
said I misspoke. It doesn't matter. Well,
you didn't say Oka. Neither
that's
did
your
you
own
say
cup of tea.
Onitsha.
If you
You
want
didn't
to,
say
if you
Onitsha.
want
You
to
didn't say
hold on
Onitsha.
to
You didn't
it,
say Oka.
listen.
You
Okay,
cannot
but
be
okay.
telling a governor
But
to
well,
handle a
it doesn't
situation
matter.
that's in a
Okay,
different
I
state
guess I'm trying
entirely.
to be like you. I guess I'm trying to be like your principal that is always misquoting all figures because we know him. That's why his
Your
nickname is
principal is in a
Into the
video.
Lie.
He doesn't
So
even know who
Tinubu
Atiku
is the one
is.
that has him to the lie.
If
Don't
Tinubu was
worry.
here, he would be
Continue with
shaking
your
Daddy
lie.
Quincy's hand,
Continue with
talking
your
about,
lie.
oh, Atiku.
Continue with your lie. You and
Your principal doesn't even know who
all
Atiku
the
is.
ones like you. I don't have time for you because I'm not going to waste
What
my
you're
time
saying is that
discussing anything with you.
what is going
I
to
just
rule
want
Nigeria
to
is a piece of paper. And I'm telling
AKWA.
you that for the past
Aqua. I
20,
can't
30
pronounce all
years,
the Igbo. I can't
people have
pronounce
been
Igbo words
producing
well.
pieces of paper,
Aqua.
but they're all
Aqua.
thieves.
I listen. I don't care. Thank you. God bless you, Mr. Representative for Abubakar. God bless you.
It's
Because you
very,
could
very
just
tough
call
to
them out
defend
now
failure.
and you couldn't
Mama
answer your
Tuzi,
question.
it's
What
very
did your
difficult to
principal?
defend failure.
What
It
did
is
your principal?
difficult
I'm
to
not going to
defend
use
failure.
Let me just say, right?
if I answer your
You know that
if I
Tinubu is
answer
a
your
horrible
juvenile
leader.
if I
You know
answer
he's
your
a
juvenile
horrible leader
question,
that
if
rules
I
like a
answer your
mafia
juvenile
boss.
question,
Peter Obi is a gentleman
I'm
who
giving you
respects the
with
rights of
care and
people.
giving you credit. No, you see, you can talk to my hand, Mr. Abubakar. Please, can we have a discussion that is devoid of propaganda and nonsense and
When you
something
are
that is actual
supporting two,
factual,
when
that
you are
is factual
when you
and
guys have been
actually
part of the problem,
verifiable?
when PDP
Because
and APC
these
have been
people
part of
like
the
to just be
problem,
talking. No,
you
you
guys
can talk to
can
the
work
back of my
together.
hand. See,
This
you
is
can
Exactly.
keep
To
talking to
listen
that
to
one
that
because I don't
nonsense.
have to see.
Nigerians are
I'll go
tired
with it.
of
I
it.
Mr.
think the
Peter
Guys are
Obi,
problem is
tired of
that
APC and
because
Mr.
PDP.
Peter
Mr.
Obi,
Abubakar,
Mr. Peter
because the
Obi,
rest of the
Mr. Peter
rest of
Obi,
us have
when
had
you
to
are saying
tolerate
PDP and
Peter
APC,
Obi's teams
when you
and
said,
Peter Obi
hold on,
supporters and
madam,
their
let me address
uh,
this matter. Let me address
toddler
this matter. When you
tantrum.
are
In fact,
saying
that's an
that
insult to my
PDP
toddler.
and
We've
APC are part of
tolerated
this
enough
problem,
of you
PDP
guys
and
madam,
tantrum. You can
APC
come and
have
have
destroyed
intelligent
Nigeria.
I
conversation.
And
just
you
We
want
will
to
guys
be
know
show
your
up
ready
here
for you.
agenda.
every Tuesday
I
trying to
just
tell
want
us
to know
why
your
we
You
need
will
to
be
agenda.
support failure.
talking in the
I
If you
just
nonsense.
want
if
to
you
know
You
your
work
people
at
are
agenda.
any
making
job,
it
you're a
easy.
nurse.
Look,
You're a
we are
nurse.
not here
If
to
you
make
get
money.
fired from your
It's
job,
my
I'm
it will
not
be
just a
agenda
nurse.
that
difficult for you
I
to
am
get
a
upholds
another
boss.
job.
Yeah. Listen,
That's what I'm saying
listen.
to you.
I am
agenda.
not
Whatever
just. I
you
am
do
not
for a
just a.
living,
Listen
if
to
you
me. You
fail,
need to
you will
listen
not
to
be
me. I
rehired.
am not
But
just a
you are
nurse.
coming to tell us that
Listen.
we should support
I
a
am. It's not
Tinubu
about
that
me.
stood up
It is
and
not
told us
about
that
me. It is
Buhari
about
was the greatest
Ashwadi.
thing
We
for us.
said
And in
to
all
him.
these years, he's not helped Tinubu, he's not helped Buhari make one good
Okay,
decision
so
for
I guess
Nigeria.
I
What
guess
has
you will take a
APC?
gun.
What has
I guess you
APC
will take
done
a
in the
gun.
past
You will
8 years?
take a gun to
Nigeria
Aso Rock
is
and put a
worse
gun
than
to
worse now than it
Buhari's
was in
head that you have to do
2015.
my bidding. You people have issues, oh. You know that. Let me
You
tell
see,
you why I say you guys have issues.
It's very
You guys were
simple.
APC.
We
complaining in
don't want
Lagos that
APC, neither do
Tinubu
we
is the
want
one.
PDP.
Tinubu is the one
Let me say,
controlling Lagos, but
yeah,
now you are saying that why is he not going to control Abuja too? You
it's
people have
very
issues.
clear.
Because
You
he
people need
was
to
the
go and
one
take
who
your. You
stood
people
up
need to.
and
You
told
need
us that
some kind of
Buhari was the
spiritualness.
greatest
It's
thing.
clear.
I
And
don't know
now he's
you.
been
The only
silent.
water
But
that will
now he's the
save
one
you,
who has the
POB
solution for
Let me
us.
people.
just
The only
point out
water that will
that
That's
save
we
you
very
are
guys. There's no.
disappointing.
let me just
Very
point out
Sulaiman
disappointing.
is still
let me
thinking
just point
about
out
it. He has not concocted it
we are
together.
just
I don't think Abubakar Jare, I hear you.
we are ranting. We are ranting without proper facts, right? We're just making noise
All
at the
right.
top of our voices.
All right. You guys just spent 11 minutes on a 7-minute session.
And we are not done yet.
So,
Give us more time, Daddy Idris.
Please let Mr. Abubakar say what he has to say.
5 minutes injury time.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Now, after the 5 minutes, everybody gets to say their parting shots. And I am timing you guys. 3, 2, 1. And Basbo's injury time.
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Abubakar, please talk here.
Thank you very much. That Bas Bose was just all noise without proper facts and sauce. There was no meat to eat. We're just blabbing all over the place because I'm sure most of even the audience did not even hear what was going on. Let's argue based on facts. Let's even do the Bas Bose based on facts, right? So that we have things to point out. You know, Team Obi was saying APC and PDP are the major problems of this country and so on and so forth. So now, indirectly, what you are trying to say is that your principal is now in Labour Party and Labour Party has never been there, so that chance should be taken. That doesn't make sense. Have you forgotten 2019? Where was he? When he was governor, what party was he? So that means when he was contending for the post of vice president, that means he was also part of the problem. Did you at that time say he was part of the problem? Why was he in PDP? So let's talk facts. Let's talk facts. We're talking about things of how to improve this country. And I mentioned it to you. I told you that he is today, check your facts, he is one of the major importers of finished goods in Nigeria. And what I would say is not that I'm not like trying to take a heavy hit, but that alone is wrong. He was a governor. He established this industry, personal and important. What I'm saying is that at that particular point in time, he would have pushed at the National Assembly and at the federal government to come up with policies that will support those industries rather than now. What did he do? By bringing in, he was killing other industries in this country. That's what I'll have to say. And what do you have to say to that?
So what I have to say to that is,
I would like to hear you say, I would like to hear you
Mr.
mention
Abubakar,
about that
let's more talk. Let's
what,
more
what I
defend
also
yourself.
what I would like to say is that Peter Obi has never been held by the EFCC or the FBI for stealing Nigerian money or Nigerian funds. He's one of the only governors who goes to. Hold on, I let you speak, Mr. Abubakar. You said you were a gentleman.
Who
You
has
said,
been held?
Mr.
That's why I
Abubakar, you
say,
said you were a
say things with
gentleman.
facts.
So let me
Say
speak.
things with facts.
Atiku was investigated by the FBI.
Mr.
No,
Abubakar, let
He
him
has
was
been
talk, then
held.
we
he was
can.
investigated
You
by,
said
by the FBI.
nobody.
Peter
You
Obi has
said
never
held
been
by
investigated by the
EFCC or
FBI or
CIA.
the
You said
EFCC.
held.
He handed over all the money that he had left that he invested in the company, showed the bank manager, showed all his money. One thing I'm confident about him is that he's not a criminal. Importing goods into Nigeria is not an illegal business. He's not stopping anybody
No,
from
no, no,
farming
no, no,
or
no,
from
no, no, no.
developing
That's what we are.
industry in Nigeria.
Please,
So you
now,
can't
no.
tell me that Peter
Somebody
Obi has
that
a
is now
problem
saying
because he
he
knows how
wants
to
to be
import goods into
president.
Nigeria.
He wants to
But
be
you say that
president, and
a
he
man
wants
who was investigated by
Nigeria
the
to be
FBI is a good
protected,
guy because
but
he
he is
stole all
importing.
Nigerian money. A man who doesn't
Somebody
do
that wants
business,
to be
who is a
president.
customs officer, and now ends
Somebody
up
that
being one of the richest men in Nigeria. And may I point out, Adamawa State is the third poorest state in Nigeria.
Where is that
He now
statistics?
lives in
As at
Dubai.
when? Where is that statistics? That Adamawa
Oh,
is the third
Google it.
poorest in Nigeria.
Google is your
Please,
friend.
I
Just
don't
say,
need to
hey,
Google
Google,
it. I know.
and it will
I don't
help
need
you.
to Google it. I'm quite
No,
fast
you
when it
Google.
comes
I
to
have
those
Googled it.
numbers.
That's why I
You are
know.
just
When
calling
you
numbers.
Google it, you call
You are
Daddy Freeze
just
and you tell
calling
Daddy Freeze,
numbers.
Michael was lying. Mo the voice was lying.
My
Go and
friend,
check it out.
let's
You don't
not
believe
rant.
me? Go and check it
Let's
out.
not rant. And that is where integrity comes into place. And even you, if you are representing your principle and you're bringing out figures that lack integrity, I think it's an insult to your
They
own
don't like
principle.
it. Hey, people in the chat, please, can
It's
you
an
go on
insult to
Google
your own
and
principle.
list the poorest state in
You're coming out
Nigeria?
with
Oh my
figures.
goodness.
You're coming out with
Borno,
figures that
Adamawa,
lack
and Yobe
integrity.
states has the highest number of internally displaced people in Nigeria. What are you talking
Who?
about?
Which state? Adamawa?
Borno State, Adamawa State, and Yobe State, the Bay, as the
Borno have
as the
to do with
United Nations calls
Adamawa?
it, has the
What does
highest number
Borno
of
have to do with
IDPs in the
Adamawa?
country.
You were
At least
giving me a
4.1 million.
accusing her of saying Oka in Anambra, and now you are bringing Borno. What does
She
Borno
did
have
not
to do
say,
with Adamawa?
Oka, she said Abba. She did not say
Aba, yes.
Oka, she said Abba.
What does Borno have to do with Adamawa?
That's what I'm
Do
telling
you
you.
know
I'm
where Borno
explaining
is?
to you that
Do you know
Adamawa
where
State is the
Yobe is?
third
Do
poorest,
you know where
right?
Taraba is?
Borno, Adamawa,
Do
and
you know where?
Yobe have the highest number of IDPs. APC has been in
Please,
power, but the people
please,
of the Northeast and
please,
Northwest have been
calm down,
suffering from
calm
terrorism
down,
and criminality.
calm
And you
down,
guys want us to
calm
take you
down.
back. We're not taking you back.
You need to
Nigerians
get
will
your
say
facts.
no to you in February.
You are kicking your principle in the butt by bringing out facts that lack integrity. Please.
No, you
Ask
can
you
Google it.
intellectually.
Look, you can Google it.
Let's use
Let
our
Mama
brains.
Tuzi talk. Let
Let's
Mama
use our
Tuzi talk.
brains.
She's looking hot in her red.
Let's use
Let
brains.
her talk.
No,
Why you Google? Why
thank
you
you.
Let's
Google?
use brains.
Thank
Let her
you.
talk. Why you Google?
You understand?
Thank you.
All right,
No,
guys.
the time
Let's
you
use
have
brains.
Oh.
That is as far as we can go on the Glasgow's segment. I wish it were a little bit more civil because you guys were at each other's throats and we could hardly hear the facts. It was more of a hot mess. So I'm going to.
I let Abubakar speak, but when I started speaking, he wanted to interrupt me.
Thanks. All right. So you now have 2 minutes each. Parting notes. Your time starts now. Starting with Team Abubakar. 2 minutes. All right. Notes. Thank you so very much for this wonderful opportunity. It has been interactive. It's been educative. And what I want to say is that this is a very important topic that we discussed today. What we're talking about, food security and employment. And I have mentioned that my principal has a blueprint and a plan on exactly how to tackle this particular aspect of our nation building, of our economy, in terms of attaining food security and also gaining employment for our teeming youth. And without doubt, that data and this plan that he has laid upon, most especially on his 5-point agenda, clearly states his commitment and passion to ensure that he delivers on that. And I would want to say, and also challenge, that the document is out there. He has stated it, and he is actually based on experience and how he calls himself a pan-Nigerian that cuts across every region of this country.
works for him. And I would want to say that His Excellency Atiku Abubakar is the man for this job. He has clear policies, clear strategies to ensure that we are where we need to be, and a clear roadmap on a plan that needs to be achieved. And I'm asking fellow Nigerians to look into these things. Let's use facts, let's use data to ensure that we vote the right people. And we need people with experience. Where we are in Nigeria now, experience matters. It does, and it's key. And my principle sells that. Thank you very much. And I hope that we get to that election peacefully. We have a peaceful election, and that is what we want to have. That is what he has been selling all this while. And I hope that at the end of the day, Nigerians will come out great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Over to you, Mo the Voice.
According to Nigeria Infopedia, Adamawa is now ranked the third poorest state in Nigeria, while Atiku resides in Dubai. In position number 2, we have Katsina State, the home of the current president, Buhari. Borno is one of the states with the largest number of internally displaced people, and Tinubu, in all his wisdom, thinks that Shetima is the most competent man to be his vice president. If the smallest level of analytical thinking is applied to Nigeria, we will discover that electing persons just because of a particular religion, state, or tribe does not guarantee growth or prosperity. We need a Nigerian, a passionate Nigerian, and who's passionate about the future. Therefore, I urge you all Nigerians to rise and take back the future for our children. Let us hold our religious leaders accountable. Let us hold our political leaders accountable. Let us hold our political parties accountable. If the prophets in Nigeria prophesied in December 2020 and none of them could prophesy about the COVID pandemic, let's hold them accountable. If Tinubu makes promises and promises us that Nigeria will be better with Buhari and Nigeria is worse, we should hold Tinubu accountable. If the PDP and the APC have made several manifestos worth of failed promises, let us also hold them accountable and go in a different direction. We cannot continue to reward bad leadership. Let us all give Peter Obi and the Labour Party a chance to rescue Nigeria. We deserve a fighting chance against the internal and external cabals that negatively coerce our weak, greedy, docile, wicked, and incompetent leaders. As we dey prepare to vote for 2023, make una remember saying na only Labour Party get logo wey carry papa, mama, and pikin. Make una no vote for broom wey Buhari and Tinubu don use sweep sansan enter inside our garri. And make una no vote for the umbrella wey dey only cover people wey get money. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay. Over to you, my beautiful sister. And please, you guys need to be careful not to insult any of the debaters. We're having fun. We're sharing vibes. I'm enjoying it. I'm not happy that people are still insulting one another at this stage. So, over to you, Mama Tuzi.
All right. Well, it's quite unfortunate that the debates that started civilly with Brume turned into total chaos. Apologies for that. We got too excited, I guess, Mo and I. So speaking of Asiwaju, one thing I want everybody to remember is this. Today we are actually talking about food security and employment. Yes, Nigeria have a lot of challenges. Food security that is fueled by neglect, decades of neglect. PDP, APGA, it doesn't matter what you belong to, what party you were part of the problem because you saw a problem, you didn't do anything about it. And now the chicken has come home to roost. No thanks also to climate change that is also impacting our society. But what my principal has planned to do about it is what matters. Unemployment, he plans to reduce unemployment to half of that 33% in the first 4 years of his administration. The plans are detailed there. I can't tell you everything. you will do yourself good by actually going with what Mr. Abubakar said, that you want to read this document. You want to read our document. And it is your duty to ask your candidate, which is Peter Obi, the same document. This is how it is done everywhere. Hillary Clinton had one, Obama had one, Biden had one. They all had something to itemize what their plans will be, how they plan to achieve it. Somebody coming here to tell you that I don't need it is because they are laying the foundation to say, you can't hold me accountable for anything. Because guess what? When I have to do performance improvement, performance evaluation every year, I don't even remember things I did in January. A lot of times I don't even put it in there because I didn't remember what I did. And guess what? How would you remember in 4 years everything that he's been telling you that he would do that he didn't do? How are you going to hold him accountable? So all I can say is, in Lagos right now, we have rice farms everywhere. We have ranching that they already did the prototype of it in Badagry, and now they are bringing it to Ekpe. We have ranches stemming up in Ekpe, in Badagry, all around Lagos now. In Southwest, they are putting money. They are trying to revive agriculture in Southwest. If Anambra was Borno, because you were talking about Borno Shetima, if Anambra was Borno, if Anambra went through 1/10 of what Borno went through, Anambra would probably not be existing anymore. That is a fact. That guy did what he could without any government, federal assistance, because it wasn't forthcoming under Jonathan administration. So that is a verifiable fact. But I'm going to stick with it. For youths that are talking about employment, Asiwaju has planned for you. In fact, this whole document is about you. All I implore you to do is just read it. It is there. I have read it. I'm not just talking about something somebody said to me. The night it came out, I read the whole 80 pages. I highlighted it. I put question marks where I had questions because I had questions. It's not a perfect document, but it answers the questions. So there will be financing access that will be there for you. There are going to be opportunities for even youth electives to be able to contribute to things that youth will favor youth. Northwest, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest will all be represented. Industrial hubs will spring up to help us. All this will curb our employment situation. Fiscal and monetary policies will be revamped. We are not just going to be doing one size fits all because America is fighting inflation this way. Nigeria needs to fight it another way. We've been saying this. I personally have said this in South Africa this summer, and it is what a reasonable economist would tell you, and that is what Asiwaju has planned to do. Please read this book. It is very important. Nigeria depends on it, and we are counting on you to please read this with open mind and make an informed, intelligent decision. Don't be emotional about it. We have to be pragmatic. Sometimes it is not what we want. It is what we get. It is what we get us there. That is what is important. We don't want to go from frying pan to fire. We don't want to say, okay, because we don't want this. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daddy Fritz. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much. A bit of internet issues today, especially from Team Abubakar, and a bit of too much fighting during the Basbos. I do appreciate you all, and I do hope we can have more civil broadcasts in the future.
We apologize. We apologize. Mo and I were just too passionate about our candidates.
And
see,
because there was no clash of the Star Wars, it was a bit, Star Wars always has a way of lifting up the morale of the people. But I need to work on the back end because some people were buying stars and it was not reflecting and all that. So we needed to actually sort that out properly so people can have more fun. I do hope that will be sorted by next week. So we're buying stars and hyping the stars, and then I'm sure there'll be a bit of life because everybody just fighting themselves. That Star Wars always.
Yeah, it calms the situation down.
It calms the scenario.
Yes.
But thank you all nonetheless, and we look forward to more exciting topics as we continue. Do take care of yourselves.
I just hope that next week that Mama Tuzi will be able to tell us about the fake bishops that Shetima brought.
So the ones that was in Kano yesterday too, they are fake, Abi. All the Kano, they are fake too. You need to
Calm
join. Like
down,
I
calm
told
down.
you, seriously, more. So
Guys,
Sulaiman never met me what I will go help on a fix on a problem.
All right,
Sulaiman
guys,
is talking
have a
back.
lovely evening.
Bye.
Nice,
Bye,
nice
Mo.
meeting you.
Bye,
Have a
Daddy.
lovely